Emily Carter grew up in a small town near Madison, Wisconsin, where life moved slowly and people believed deeply in honesty. She was the kind of American girl who trusted easily, laughed freely, and believed that good intentions still existed in the world. After graduating from college with a degree in communication, Emily moved to Chicago to start a new chapter of her life. She rented a small apartment near Lakeview, found a junior position at a digital marketing firm, and promised herself she would focus on her career, not distractions. Life in Chicago was loud, fast, and overwhelming at first. Emily often felt lonely in a city full of millions. One evening, after a long day at work, she joined an online community group for young professionals. That was where she first saw the name Jason Miller. His comments were thoughtful, supportive, and kind. He seemed intelligent, emotionally aware, and respectful qualities Emily valued deeply. Their friendship began casually. Jason lived in Naperville, worked in real estate, and had grown up in Illinois his entire life. At first, their conversations were about work stress, favorite American TV shows, and weekend coffee spots. Jason had a calm way of listening. He never rushed the conversation, never made Emily feel unheard. For Emily, who had spent years focusing only on studies and work, this connection felt refreshing. Weeks passed, and daily messages turned into long phone calls. Emily found herself smiling at her phone during lunch breaks and waiting for Jason's goodnight texts. She trusted him because he never crossed boundaries. He often said, "Real connections take time," and Emily admired that patience. She believed she had found a genuine American man who respected emotions over games. They finally decided to meet in person at a cafe near Millennium Park. Emily was nervous, but the moment Jason walked in, dressed simply in jeans and a navy jacket, she felt at ease. He was exactly how he sounded, soft-spoken, polite and attentive. They talked for hours, forgetting time, forgetting the outside world. When they parted that evening, Emily felt something she hadn't felt in years: hope. Over the next few months, their friendship grew deeper. They explored Chicago together, walks along Navy Pier, late-night diners, and quiet conversations near Grant Park. Jason often spoke about his dreams, his difficult past relationships, and how betrayal had once broken him. Emily listened with empathy, believing that shared pain meant shared honesty. Eventually, Jason confessed his feelings. He told Emily that she was different, that she made him feel understood and safe. Emily hesitated at first. She believed in slow love. But Jason's consistency, emotional openness, and care convinced her. She allowed herself to fall, believing that trust was being built brick by brick. Emily introduced Jason to her close friends in Chicago. She talked about him at work, imagined a future that included shared holidays, family introductions, and long-term commitment. Jason spoke about marriage as a concept, about loyalty, about never repeating past mistakes. Emily believed every word because she wanted to believe. But slowly, small changes began to appear. Jason became distant. Messages that once came instantly were delayed for hours. Phone calls became shorter. When Emily asked if something was wrong, Jason blamed work pressure and stress. As an understanding partner, Emily gave him space, believing love meant patience. One evening, Emily noticed something that unsettled her. Jason had tagged himself at a restaurant in Evanston, a place he once said he hated. When she casually asked about it, he laughed it off and changed the subject. Emily felt uneasy, but ignored the feeling. She trusted him at least. She wanted to. Weeks later, while attending a marketing event in downtown Chicago, Emily ran into a woman named Lauren. They started chatting casually, and during the conversation, Lauren mentioned her boyfriend Jason, describing him in a way that felt painfully familiar. The same job, the same city, the same smile. Emily's heart dropped. Trying to stay calm, Emily asked more questions. The details matched too perfectly to be coincidence. Lauren even showed a photo. It was Jason, the same man who promised Emily honesty. The same man who spoke about loyalty. Emily felt numb. The noise of the event faded. Her hands shook as reality crashed in. Jason had been living a double life, building emotional worlds with two women, telling both what they wanted to hear. That night, Emily confronted Jason near Lincoln Park. She didn't scream. She didn't cry at first. She simply asked one question: how long? Jason went silent. Then came excuses, confusion, fear, emotional weakness. He claimed he never meant to hurt her. But for Emily, the damage was already done. Betrayal doesn't come from mistakes. It comes from choices. Emily walked away that night, her trust shattered. For weeks she struggled, sleepless nights, doubting her judgment, questioning her worth. She replayed every conversation, every promise, wondering how she missed the truth. But slowly, something changed. Emily realized that being betrayed didn't make her weak. It proved she was capable of deep trust. She began therapy, leaned on her friends, and focused on rebuilding herself. She poured energy into her career, earned a promotion, and moved to a brighter apartment closer to Wicker Park. Months later, Emily felt stronger. Not because the pain disappeared, but because she learned from it. She learned that real love never hides, never lies, and never asks you to ignore your instincts. Jason tried to reach out again, sending apologies, messages filled with regret. Emily never replied. Some doors, once closed, are meant to stay that way. Her story wasn't about heartbreak anymore. It was about growth. About an American woman who trusted, got hurt, but chose self-respect over second chances. Emily moved forward with clarity, knowing that betrayal does not define the end, it defines the lesson. And somewhere in the city of Chicago, under the same skyline where her heart once broke, Emily Carter learned the most powerful truth of all. Trust is precious, and those who break it lose the right to stay. Healing after the betrayal. After walking away from Jason, Emily Carter thought the hardest part was over. She was wrong. The real battle began in silence. Every morning in her Chicago apartment felt heavy. The same city that once felt exciting now reminded her of broken promises. Coffee tasted bitter, music felt empty, and nights were the hardest. Betrayal had a way of following her into every quiet moment. Emily questioned herself constantly. She wondered how an intelligent, independent American woman could miss so many signs. She replayed conversations in her head, searching for the exact moment trust turned into a lie. At work, she smiled professionally, but inside, her confidence felt shaken. She stopped believing her instincts, and that scared her more than the heartbreak itself. One evening, Emily finally accepted something important she couldn't heal alone. She booked her first therapy session at a wellness center near River North. Sitting across from a stranger and talking about Jason felt uncomfortable at first, but slowly the words began to flow. She spoke about trust, emotional manipulation, and the fear of opening her heart again. For the first time, she heard the truth out loud. Jason's betrayal was not her failure. With time, Emily started creating a new routine. Early morning walks along the Chicago River, journaling before bed, and limiting social media. She blocked Jason completely. No calls, no texts, no second chances. It wasn't easy, but it was necessary. Healing required distance, not explanations. A few months later, Emily attended a women's leadership conference in New York City. It was her first solo trip after the heartbreak. Standing among strong American women, sharing stories of survival and success, reminded her who she was before Jason entered her life. She realized her story was not unique, but her strength was. During the conference, Emily met Rachel Thompson, a public speaker who openly talked about emotional betrayal and self-worth. Rachel's words stayed with her. Some people come into your life not to stay, but to teach you what you deserve. That sentence became Emily's anchor. Back in Chicago, Emily focused on her career with renewed energy. She proposed a bold digital campaign at work, something she would have hesitated to do before. Her confidence surprised even her manager. Within weeks, she was promoted. For the first time since the betrayal, Emily felt proud of herself again. Jason's name slowly faded from her thoughts. The pain didn't disappear overnight, but it lost its power. Emily learned to sit with her emotions instead of running from them. She forgave not for Jason, but for her own peace. Almost a year later, Emily found herself at a local bookstore cafe in Wicker Park. She wasn't looking for love, and that's what made the moment different. She struck up a conversation with a man named Daniel Brooks, a history teacher from Seattle visiting Chicago. The conversation was light, honest, and pressure-free. No promises, no emotional stories meant to impress, just real connection. Emily noticed something important. She wasn't anxious. She wasn't overthinking. She was simply present. Daniel didn't rush anything. He respected her pace, her boundaries, and her past. And for the first time, Emily understood the difference between intensity and sincerity. Love didn't have to hurt to feel real. Emily didn't rush into another relationship. She chose herself first. Whether Daniel stayed or not, she knew one truth clearly now. She would never accept half-truths again. Her journey transformed her. From a woman broken by betrayal to a woman rebuilt by self-respect, Emily Carter became stronger than the pain that once defined her. And if someone ever asked her what heartbreak taught her, she would smile and say, "It taught me that losing the wrong person can be the greatest protection God ever gives." Choosing herself. Emily Carter no longer measured her life by who stayed and who left. The city of Chicago felt different now, lighter, familiar, and safe again. She had learned that healing wasn't about forgetting the past, but about not letting it control her future. Daniel remained a gentle presence in her life. There were no rushed promises or dramatic confessions, only honesty and respect. Emily took her time, setting boundaries she once feared would push people away. Instead, They protected her peace. One evening near Lake Michigan, Emily realized something powerful. She wasn't afraid of love anymore. She was simply no longer willing to lose herself for it. Whether Daniel became part of her future or not, she knew she would be okay. Jason's chapter was closed. Not with anger, but with clarity. Emily finally understood that betrayal had not broken her, it had refined her. Her story became one of strength, not loss. A reminder that an American woman who chooses self-respect always wins, no matter how the story begins. Because the strongest love she ever found was the one she gave herself.